Howdy, hey, how you doing? Oh, hey, Maji. Hey, thanks for stopping by. How you doing? Howdy, hey, how you doing? Oh, hey. There we go. Fix that. Yo, what's up, man? Hand purple blue pence. Actually, hey, we're starting a Kahuna stream, so we better start this off right. Watch your ears. All right, so we're going to be getting started today. So, got a couple things on the agenda. I call this the everything stream because I'm going to be doing a little bit of everything. So, first thing we got on the agenda today, we got 2 new art pieces done by professional artists. And these were won at auction. And I figured, you know, what better way to show them off than just do it on stream? I might take some proper pictures and upload them later. But yeah, no, these were done by Elliot, an associate of Blacklist Universe on his channel. And they were selling a whole bunch of art the other day for Black Friday. And I figured I'd bid on a couple things and then I won. So I believe that's what these are. Anyway, we'll be checking out these. I might play a little bit of Hunt when we're all said and done, and then I have a couple of Iron Age stories I'd like to read as well. And so that's what we're doing tonight. Anyway, how's everybody doing? Also, I love this bookshelf. I just need to work on the rest of the background. It's pretty. Needs a little more oomph. You know what I mean? Alas, we're gonna open these suckers. Come on now. Come on. There we go. I will not cut my hand open on the internet. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Ooh. Oh, I'm so excited. Let's see. Open that up. Oh, I was wrong. Anyway, well, this is an unboxing stream. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, this is not what I thought it was. This was one of my comics that I ordered on fundmycomic.com came in, and I misinterpreted what it was. But look, check this out. Raid of the White Leopard. That's cool. Let's check this out. Hell yeah. Not the art I expected, but art all the same. Yeah. I'll be careful with that. I'll be careful. Oh, I didn't have it. Yeah, we're all good. Yeah, check that out, man. Look at. Oh, it's in black and white too. Look at that. You know, that's the thing. Like, I order comics online on Fund My Comic, Indiegogo, and such, and then I kind of forget about them. So by the time they come back in, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I'll have to give that guy a shout out. I didn't realize I'd be getting his stuff opening his stuff on stream today, and I'm guessing, knowing myself, I don't think I ordered just the black and white version, though that does look beautiful. I also probably have the color version, or hear me out. I told you I forget about it once I buy it. There's a small chance I just bought 2 of these. Let's see. Ooh, look, same cover. Did I order this? Oh snap! Hey Maji, you want a comic? I ordered 2 of the bloody things. Check that. Oh, that's so funny, dude. Are they the exact same? No way, no way, no how. Oh, they are the exact. Oh, that's so funny, dude. Holy smokes. Oh, well, I just like to display my intelligence on stream. You know how it is. Oh, that's great, man. Yeah, no, I hope he does, man. I tell him I loved it so much just based off of that advertisement he had in there. I had to order 2 because that's the kind of man Guna is. Oh shoot, dude, that's so funny. Oh well, I have everybody here. I was planning on showing off some of the other Iron Age kind of art I've gathered over the previous months. Figured this would be a good way to do it. Let's see. Flip you around. Urgh. There we go. Grab you. There we go. There we go. Holy smokes! I've gathered a lot of art before. Maji, I feel everybody makes mistakes, but this is like the 3rd time recently where I've discovered that. But alas, we don't want to look at me. We don't want to look at this beautiful face. It's too much, too soon. So what we're gonna do? I'm gonna take you guys. We're gonna look at some of the art that I've gathered from Iron Age artists over the years. Is this close enough? All right. Anyway, so here we have the Mythicals. This is some art that came with it. I didn't get the fancy dancy package like Maji did, but here we go. Connected. Oh, that was weird. Anyway, didn't get the fancy dancy full like box set like she did, but I did get some. I did get this piece. Ooh, there we go. There's the custom art that came with Daniel P. Riley's 2 books. I ordered them. I got the signature versions, and just finished G Sedai, the first one, recently, and I really, really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to getting that review out here soon. I should start doing video reviews. I'm just not quite there yet. Here we go. Got the 2 posters. These came in with the Private American. Not a bad comic. I'll be honest, I kind of wanted more from the first issue, but I discovered it's not so much this specific comic as it is just a comic trend that I've been seeing in a lot of newer indie comics and Iron Age comics recently. Oh, look at this. More Hojo. Look at that. Oh, bro. Look at that. That thing is gorgeous. Look at that piece, dude. Oh, I'm so impressed. I wish I could do stuff like that. Oh, look. Not Iron Age, just whales in space, because Pacific Northwest. Cosmic energy, dude. You got to feel the flow. Ooh, and there's another piece. I'm just going to adjust this real quick. Let's see. There we go. Have a little background music going. Another piece from the Mythicals. Maji, you got this in your box, didn't you? If I'm not mistaken. It's hard to get it when it's so shiny, but yeah, there we go. Not bad. No, I like that piece a lot. And this one is one of my favorites. This was an unexpected one. This came in with my copy of The Lucent Waking Dream by Michael Bancroft, and like fair is fair, it may be my favorite Iron Age comic to date, issue 1. So take that or leave it. But it came with this awesome like little kind of circular psychological manga like kind of art piece. Ooh, and then we have all the Iron Age posters. We have The Iron Age Wants You. Be the Vanguard. This is done for Richard, actually, by my buddy Skunks from Skunks Workshop. He's been working on a video game. He and I are going to be doing some collaboration here in the future, as we have in the past. But yeah, no, he did this piece, and yeah, his background for a long time was this picture, but it was just like right this little portion, and I'm like, man, why does that look so familiar? I'm like, he's like, dude, it's on your poster. I'm like, oh, that's what it is. And then we got, oh, focus, sees the future. Honestly, like Richard was knocking like how some of the prints came out, but like it looks great in person. It looks even like this one looks really good on stream as well. The camera's really, really good. And then become the culture. Not bad. Nice little art piece. And then some non-Iron Age art as well, just because I like to collect art from many different sources. This is a piece by PB Doodles. This is a custom embossed piece that she did for one of my favorite characters from my favorite book series of all time. Now, she is not an official artist for the series, but she's talked with the author, and she did all of the art for a card deck that is beloved to me. And something about her style, it really just captures the simplistic kind of color separation and aesthetic of the series really well. And I thought her older Cassius came out really, really good. So got this custom signed embossed piece. Boom. And here we have one by our very own Animated Moon. This is, what is it called? I'm trying to remember. Is it Samurai? It may be Sunset Samurai. I'm not positive. But, yep, nope, I really like this piece. I may frame this one and end up, yo, Guilty, what's up, brother? Yeah, brother, we're going through some nice art. Let me tell you about that. You just came over from the man who did this piece. Actually, it's available on his website last time I checked. And it's, yo, Tim Allen. What up, what up, what up? But yeah, we got this piece by the Animated Moon. And I showed it to my mother the other day when I was organizing my stuff, and she said, oh man, that crow, it's really evil looking. I'm like, pardon me? She's like, yeah, that crow. I don't know if I really want. Yeah, are you sure you want to put that in the kid's room? I'm like, Mom, your eyes are bad. Like, I can see the crow. Like if you look hard, if you squint your eyes, it's like, yeah, maybe like here's the beak, and then here's like a weird tail, and it's angry sitting. No, but it's like there's a sword here. There's the hair, flowing hair, in a yeah. This is obviously just the billowing cape of a samurai, but alas. Oh, I can't show that on stream. This is an original by my... Oh, nope. This is an original by my grandmother, but it is... Well, it's not wholly inappropriate. It is a little nude. So, oh, and then there's this piece. Too lewd for the stream? It might be. Yo, Orange Snow! Woo! Billy Bob! There we go. All right, and that's not all of my Iron Age art. That's just some of the pieces that I have gathered here. And then obviously we have my bookshelf with all my bande dessinées, my manga down below, and art books, and Christmas present for my dad. Don't tell him. Yeah, nope, got lots of arts. All right, Snow, you're a good enough artist. I need to get some of your art on my wall at some point. There we go. Oh yeah, we got my copy of Immortal Rising comic. I'm looking forward to reading that. A whole bunch of new ones recently. Curse of the Fallen, Kumasagi, Akiniwazi Saga, Black Crown, Mortal Descent. Yeah, no, a lot has been added to the collection recently. But alas, it is time. I'm going to move this stuff real quick. And then I'm going to work on reading some Iron Age stories. Now, when I made that post on Twitter, it blew up a lot more than I anticipated. So tonight, I'm going to start with the one that I mentioned last time and I didn't have time to get to. I'm going to start with Raleigh. So let me go and bring up his stuff real quick here. Billy Bob. Yeah, quack back, Billy Bob. It's story time. That's right, Guilty Gearhead. Are you ready for the story of your life? Well, possibly. Haven't read them yet. Can't tell. All right, so we're going to bring up Raleigh's story here in just a little second. Volume 1. Is this the... Okay, which one? Let me see. Go back. Try this. Both are fine. Both are fine. Yeah, I think I'll do the first one, actually. Boom. All right, I'll be reading part 1 of The Shining tomorrow. Probably turn down that music just a touch. There we go. Yeah, that'll do just fine. Alrighty, so part 1, Shining Tomorrow. And that's gonna be by Raleigh Nyanzi. If I spelled that wrong, brother, you'll have to forgive me. I'm sorry. All right, here we go. No. To my father. Oh, that's sweet. Volume 1. Oh, wow, that's cool. Yeah, no, I'll have to... heck, I can show you guys a little bit, but... If you can see it, there's some Asianic kind of kanji characters mixed in there, so I'm curious how that's going to work. Chapter 1. Young Elegant Ladies of the West. They fed and clothed the homeless. They cared for children of poor working mothers. They taught in the kindergartens and the elementary schools, and they learned that the womanly arts so they could become good wives and wise mothers. Pretty and graceful, they commanded the respect of millions. They were young, elegant ladies of the West, the premier human welfare organization of the North American Federation. Everybody knew them simply as Yellow. Irma. Oh. Okay, so we're getting some different language kind of names here, so if I mess this up, you'll have to forgive me. Oh, Hunger Games. Yeah, no, we've been reading the Hunger Games. You're part of the group, RH. No, you can hop in there. Oh yeah, so there's a group of us on the A Drink with Crazy Gilded, and we've been rereading the Hunger Games, the first book, just because most of us haven't read it since the book came out or when we were in high school. And so we've been going through that, and I'm sure we'll do a video or a stream about that here somewhere down the line. Alas, back to the story. Irma Mizuho Kaneyazu got in front of her class of 9 other girls, all in matching yellow blazers and plaid gray miniskirts. Every girl stood with her hand by her sides, ready to listen to the representative's commands. Turn! Irma shouted. The girls all turned in unison with a flag in a yellow sun with rays on a blue background, then placed their hands on their hearts. Speak the loyalty oath, Irma shouted. Every girl took a breath, then spoke the familiar words. I pledge undying loyalty to the flag of the North American Federation and to the great empire with which it stands, one people, under a divine ruler, always obedient, in the name of law and civilization. Irma turned to face the girls. Bow, she said. All the girls bowed. And sit. The girls all took their seats, Irma seating herself last. Excellent as always. Let's see, sir. Excellent as always, Irma. Let's pick up where we left off yesterday. A middle-aged woman in a yellow coat, a tight black knee-length skirt, and high heels said. She was the class's teacher, Mrs. Andrea de Krega, or Mrs. K, as they usually called her. Mrs. K fetched a box of clothes and placed it on her desk. Here's a fresh bat. Here's... Oh, hello. No. There we go. Sorry.
Had to fit.
Whoa. Sorry, my little control pad here is going a little wonky. There we go. Yeah. Here's a fresh batch. Much of it is in awful condition. We're going to spend most of the day repairing it all. We must get through this box before our time is up. If you need any help, please ask me. Mrs. K said. Irma and the others took pouches full of needles and thread out of their handbags. Mrs. K passed the clothes out to them. Irma got a basketball jersey that had 3 small holes in it, undoubtedly bullet holes. After she checked the rest of the shirt for damage, she rolled up the sleeves of her blazer and got to work.
You're lucky yours are so small. Mine's crazy,
a petite blonde girl said. Her legal name was Virginia Shire, but everyone called her Pixie due to the short haircut she liked to wear. Mrs. K would often suggest that she grow her hair out, but Pixie said that her current style made her look cuter. Pixie held up the white t-shirt she had. A big diagonal slash made Irma raise her eyebrows in shock.
You have your work cut out for you,
Irma said. Pixie chuckled at the pun, then took a seat and began threading the needle through the top of the cut, near the shoulder. 2 people chatted about people from around school. Mrs. K didn't care if the girls talked to each other so long as the work got done.
And then Mia said to Cedro, I'll even cook for you, and offered to be his maid,
Irma said. Oh, am I reading Sewing Club for middle schoolers or high schoolers? I'm not sure what this is yet. Raleigh, I trust this is going somewhere fun. All right. That dumb slut's going to mess everything up, Pixie said. Upon hearing the harsh words, Mrs. K looked up from the book she was reading, but she quickly returned to it. Agreed. Those 2 marrying would be a terrible idea, Irma said. Funny you should mention cooking. We're a bit behind on that front. Irma turned to see who said that. Seated right behind her, a tall, athletic girl named Diane Natsumi Iwasaki stitched up the knee holes on a pair of jeans.
Good save. I forgot all about it, to be honest,
Irma said. Every couple of months, the girls and Mrs. K set up a kitchen to feed the poor and homeless in the more dilapidated parts of the Highline Federal District, or Highline FD, as everyone called it. They cycled between preparing food at Mrs. K's house, Diane's house, and Irma's house, and Irma realized it was her turn this time.
I reminded the other groups a few days ago. They'll cover for us if we can make it,
Mrs. K said. That's thoughtful of them, but we should make an effort. I suggest we meet the day before the event, noontime.
Let's put it up to the entire class,
Diane said. Irma called for everyone's attention, but they overheard the conversation, so they were already quiet. Everyone in favor of that day before noon? Irma asked. All but one hand went up, and Irma nodded in satisfaction.
Nice! Everyone make time, all right?
Pixie said. The other girls gave their assent. With that out of the way, they got back to sewing up the clothes, and the box was nearly empty too. With all the clothes mended, the yellow session finished. Irma left the classroom and head to the bus stop. Most students had already left, so the campus was a bit deserted. Once she got to the bus stop, a male student made room for her on the small seat, and above her head, an LED sign stated that the next bus would arrive. She reached into her handbag, took out her phone, and called her dad. What's going on? Her dad asked, as the sound of fingers on keyboards filtered in. Irma's father, Ryo Kaneyasu, was a software engineer who worked long hours. Have you thought about buying me a car? I'll graduate before you know it, so I'll have to search for a job now. It will also help with yellow, Irma said. You really don't need one. I'll just give you a rideshare allowance when you turn 18, Dad answered.
Dad, I'm still going to need to leave the state.
I need a way to get around. That's exactly it. I don't want you getting around. Irma blushed. Dad, I'm not that foolish. I don't want you getting tempted, that's all. Irma sighed. I understand, Dad. Good. I'll see you tonight. With that, her dad hung him up. Irma stashed away her phone, then a shadow came over her. She jumped, but calmed down when she saw it was only Pixie. Had me tense for a moment. Pixie giggled. Sorry about that. I overheard your talk with your dad. You know, my folks are pretty loaded, so my father can get you a car, she said. Thank you so much, Pixie, but I can't accept it. Cars cost a lot, and I wouldn't want to strain your family's finances. I'll just make do with ride shares, Irma said. A real shame. I understand why your dad's doing it, but you're too smart to get fooled by smooth-talking guys, Pixie answered. Pixie, I want to ask you something.
What?
Why are you here at the bus stop? Don't you have a car? Pixie looked away.
I don't feel like using it right now, she said.
The answer struck Irma as evasive, but she figured that Pixie had her reasons, so she let it slide. The bus pulled up. And that's it for chapter 1. What was... Oh yeah, my otter side. Hey, anyway. Oh, shoot. There we go. Yeah, so no, this is seems like an alternate past or alternate future kind of Earth. Here, like, they have that little declaration in the beginning. It's like the Declaration of Independence, except not quite right. So yeah, no, if anyone wants to see this alternate Japanese America together future, and yeah, check it out, man. I'll probably go back and read some of this on my own and see if it's something I'll talk to him about possibly reading on stream again. Alas, this has been Shining Tomorrow by Raleigh. Anyway, guys, check it out. I believe it's on Amazon. Boom. All right. So, Snow, you're here. I might as well read some of your story. So where did you send it? Did you send it to me on Gilded Snow? Let me check it out. Where did you go? Snow. Actually, you might have sent it to me on here. Let me see. Snow, where did you send me your thing? Where did you send me your thing? You messaged me a story I could read. There we go. Okay. There we go. Actually, I can bring that up. Let me see this real quick. I'll bring up a picture so that we actually have some good art to look at while I read your story. Messages. Let's see. Okay. So we'll do that. We'll do a little bit of screen share. There we go. Boom. There we go. Then you sent me your story here. Oh, you just sent me the story on here, but I can do that. Let's see. No, Billy Bob, watch my thing. All right, let's see. Rictus noise rocked the arena as the Watcher hit his fists together, making out every muscle. Mr. Megaphone boomed, "In this corner!" Do it so everyone can get paid. Weighing in at approximately 180 pounds. Just throw the fight.
Get it done and make your exit.
Topping out at a whopping 5'3".
What she doesn't see doesn't count.
Coming to you live from Snake Farm, Texas, the wonder underdog of the evening, the Comal County Crusher. Von Helm vaulted through the gate and into the center of the circled square, pumping his fist into the air, whipping the crowd into a frenzy. A grin of pure joy lit his face as he raced around the ring, and his joy spilled over into the crowd. The watcher grunted to himself. He's the classic babyface, the hero, the guy everybody adores. Mr. Megaphone lifted his instrument voice once more. And in this corner, grinning, a feather-bedecked Joey entered the arena, leading the watcher on his chain. Weighing in at approximately 290 pounds. And then there's me. A howl of boos rose as bricks and bottles flew through the air. 6 feet deep. The ultimate heel, the anti-hero, the man you love to hate. Hailing from parts unknown, the rootin' tootin', lucha lutin' Texas outlaw, the Lone Star Libre. Fierce, Von Helm charged the gate, but the watcher grabbed him behind in a sleeper chokehold. As the crowd shouted, Von Helm patted the watcher's arm twice and whispered the ancient word, the code for a staged fight. Kayfabe. The watcher patted his head twice in return, then shook the smaller man for effect and dragged him into the center of the arena. Boos and hisses followed them as Von Helm instructed quietly. Round 1, boxing basics. Round 2, Shotokan Gankaku. Round 3, Jiu-Jitsu grappling with vertical suplex to leg lock finishing move. The watcher responded with a pat, then flung Von Helm across the ring into the barbed wire-wrapped corral paneling behind him. Just then, the bell signaling the end of the round 1 sounded. Mr. Megaphone quipped. Lone Star Libre didn't even wait for the round to start, but the officials didn't see it. Cheater! A drunken hombre stood to yell, and some of the crowd stood with him. Boo! Cheater! Cans flew into the ring. The watcher snarled and beat his chest, pacing around the ring as Von Helm rose, pretending to be punchy from being blindsided. Strutting over to Von Helm, the watcher picked him up by his belt loop, then flung him across the squared circle again. Von Helm clung to the rails dramatically as the watcher paraded around and growled. Oh, that's gotta hurt! The Coma, the County Crusher, is really having a rough start. Is this gonna be the end for the Crusher? The watcher picked him up and put him back into a headlock. Dangling limply, the watcher squeezed, once, twice. Then Von Helm snapped a fist into his opponent's groin, and the watcher released the little man to grab himself in mock pain. The crowd laughed and cheered as Von Helm popped a punch into the watcher's mouth, who answered the challenge with a back fist. Blocked. Von Helm threw a right hook. Blocked. The watcher opened a straight punch toward Von Helm's gut, only to be blocked again. And now the dance started. The Lone Star Libre and the Comal County Crusher worked their way through a repertoire of punches and blocks, each one faster, each one more elaborate. Haymakers, uppercuts, shovel hooks, a tutorial of basic boxing maneuvers blossoming into advanced techniques, each blow answered by an equally matched block, catch, or parry. Back and forth they fought, until at last, the watcher faked a jab, which unexpectedly connected with Von Helm's nose. Real blood flowed, and the audience yowled with delight. Gotta say that properly. Yowled with delight. What a shame. Too bad you didn't put your perfect snaz back in time. The Watcher snickered to himself. Ow! Damn it! Von Helm hissed through gritted teeth, wiping away blood. My bad. Let me give you a receipt for that. He whipped out a fist to the Watcher's mask. The bigger macho dodged the fist and grinned back as Von Helm threw the flame print mask. Good luck with that, manlet. Woo! And that's what we got. Also, guys, if you can't tell, whenever I do a stream like this, and almost virtually always, I am reading the story for the very first time. So I'm figuring out character voices, trying to figure out how I'm going to adjust my voice as it goes through. But yep, that was a wrestling scene from one of R.H. Snow's books that she's written. R.H., which book is that from again? Remind me. Is that from a new one, or is that from one you've already finished? Thank you, Guilty. Thank you, guys. So how's everyone doing tonight? There we go. Yeah, no, I feel you on that, Bob. There's a lot to keep up with. I scheduled this stream, and okay, so that is by the author R.H. Snow, Book 6, Lone Star Libre. Our very own Iron Age queen, and that is a snippet from her story. But thank you for allowing me to read it. It was an honor, and that was the most fun one I've had to read so far, just because it really suits my voice. But thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Snow, and I hope I didn't butcher it too badly. Hey, Boncher, if you're tired, man, I feel you. I mean, we all get older, man. You can go to bed anytime. But yeah. No, I feel you on that, King Bob. There are a lot of streams to keep up with. I'm happy I was able to get so many people on this one. People seem to dig the writing streams pretty well. But yeah, no, I was watching Animated Moon stream or listening to it while I was on my way down here. And I was like, hey, I can't stick around, man. I have my own stream to get to. But it's like, holy hot damn. Every night I go on YouTube, there's someone else's streaming. I swear to God. Thank you. Thanks, bud. I appreciate it. Oh, Guilty, you are also listening to music. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'm very blessed in that in the Iron Age we have a lot of really good musicians. And I've gotten permission by quite a few of them to use their music on stream, and so I'm very, very grateful for that. I've gotten permission from maybe 4 or 5 people now, and so I like to feature their music here and there. Tonight I've been listening to Chill Kid. I'm just sending it to my system through my phone, but yeah, no, just a variety of Chill Kid music. It's nice little background music. It like some of his music is very intense, but most of the time it's really good for stuff like this. It just really fills in the background and it makes it a more pleasant listening experience. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, Maji. Yeah, I know, I got you. She tends to work late, so on us whenever she is finally able to get to bed, it's like, yeah, no, go for it, man. I appreciate everybody being here. I'm going to read maybe 1 or 2 more stories, and after that, I may play a game. I haven't tried streaming Hunt on this computer yet, but I will give it a try. Alas, let me find the next story. Actually, I know what to read. Yeah, no, I got permission by DP the other day. I'm going to read the opening for Jisedai by Daniel P. Riley. That's something interesting about this book, too. There are no page numbers. Truth be told, I can't tell you the last time I had a book where there were no page numbers. So actually, let me see if I can pull up some art for his stuff as well. Let's see here. Oh, I know what to do. Let's see. Let me see here. Mimi. There is a way to do this. I just haven't figured it out yet. Let's see here. Let's see here. Mimi. Oh yeah, guilty. Yeah, no. First chapter of G Sedai. First time I read it, it was a day where I read the openings for 3 or 4 different books, and it didn't really catch me that day. But I kept on thinking back on it. I kept on thinking back and thinking, man, this is such a cool story. It's like it's so instantaneously cinematic. So here we go. This, and what is helpful is that this scene is from the very first portion of the first book. So here we go. In fact, I'm going to change the music just real quick. Just real quick. Come back here. Mimi. There we go. Okay, I'll go over here. Go back. We need the right, proper kind of ambient sound here. Skip that. There we go. Alrighty here. Let's see. We'll skip that. And then, all right, guys, let me know if you can hear the music. There we go. Okay, no music to speak of. It's going to be more just background noise. This is how I picture it. Can you guys hear it now? You guys hear the rain? Can you hear the rain? No rain. Son of a... Oh, okay. I know what to do. Hold on. That's weak. Let's see. Okay, how about now? Can you hear it now? Have you ever seen the rain? I'll do you one better, King Bob. I've felt it. Can you guys hear it now? Yay! Hopefully it doesn't get too loud. Chapter 1. A killer walked these streets. The brilliant neon cacophony of lights was blinding, an array of colors strewn across the landscape. LED displays and screens had replaced street signs and shop placards years ago. The crowded streets of Shibuya and what was known as Harajuku had been the height of esoteric fashion for decades, before the mega conglomerates reduced the beautiful and strange fashion center of Tokyo into a series of streets known for exotic antiquity and perversion. These cramped streets now displayed acts of depravity upon a myriad of advertisement strings. Young men and women engaged in carnal acts, dressed like children or popular characters from modern and ancient entertainment. Each building housed troubled people within its walls, enslaved by avarice, those who succumbed fully to their wants huddled amidst the trash in the streets, high on designer drugs and cortex stimulations provided by virtual reality connectors or VCRs covering their eyes and ears. The virtual world of NG3 or New Game 3, the current platform, peddled by New Active Corp, provided an unhealthy respite from the rigors of life. From one of the many dens stumbled 3 men, their suits wrinkled, their ties loosely hanging from their collars. They sang bawdy songs, arms around each other's necks as they fumbled down the street. Each man is unique in life, if not in dress. Makai Shoda, senior accountant for the Gumao Corp. Otorihiro, senior editor of marketing for Gumao Corp. And Suzuru Tando, vice president of marketing for Gumao Corp. Only the last of the 3 men was marked for death by the Suzakushin Corp. Suzakushin Corp. There we go. Which did not care if the other 2 survived the night. No, this is very much Tokyo. Silly snow. Such acts were commonplace in 2447, since new active corp's patenting of non-lethal weapons and its government-sponsored ban on deadly force in 2392, while weapons of self-defense were regulated to plastics, rubber, and the Shinsengumi's own Orpheus NLO non-lethal ordnance weapons were used. They used localized sonic pulses to render a living creature unconscious. Megacons engaged in low war using archaic tools of murder to carry out their illegal acts. Taken at young ages from orphanages or families who could not afford children, Megacons groomed the children into lethal servants for their boards and directors, using the ancient tenets of Bushido or Shinobi. They are trained and nurtured to carry out the directives of corporate violence against its rivals. Suzankushin Corp's top-ranked warrior, known only as Genbu, the Black Tortoise, has cultivated a small unit of highly skilled fighters, each given the name of an archangel of the old Judeo-Christian ethos. Rarely recognized within the walls of the AP, Asian Pacific Alliance, consisting of Japan, China, and Korea. Of the 3 former countries, China's Communist Army took root, and mega conglomerates, through Japanese, were controlled by Chinese authorities at the top. The killer, known as Gabriel, wandered up the Harajuku streets, sucking the chocolate off of a pokey stick trapped between his lips. He was waiting for these 3, ordered to eliminate only one as a warning to the Gumao Corp. Just another businessman wandering the streets at night looking for perversion. That was always his cover story. The skies above rumbled. The first droplets of water landed on the ground around him as he walked lazily towards the 3 drunken men. The black saya, or scabbard, of his white hair sword bouncing gently against the back of his thighs. As he came closer to the 3, Gabriel crunched the pokey stick in his mouth and chewed it, while his hands moved behind him to untie the saya from his belt. He pulled the weapon around in front of him, drawing the blade of his white hair sword. The 3 men stopped dead, horrified surprise in their eyes as they stared at the weapon, then the simple man wielding it. One raised his hand, index finger extended, and shook it at Gabriel. Yo, you can't! What is this? Gabriel surged forward suddenly, slashing across the pointing man's gut. His body exploded open, guts and ichor spilling all over the concrete. The 2 other men scrambled back as the first fell forward, raising their arms defensively in front of them, while screaming mercy. Gabriel cut them both down with a singular precise strike, one severing an arm to cleave into his skull, and the other stabbed through the chest plate into his heart. As the samurai began to sheath his weapon, a shrill laughter echoed around him. He dropped the saya to the street, hearing it clatter as he lifted his head to look about. From up the road sauntered a shadowed figure, the outline of a sword resting upon his shoulder. Gabriel had faced off against the dark form, holding his katana in a relaxed manner.
How quickly you dispatch the weak. Where's the fun in that?
The shadowed man called out, languidly strolling closer and closer still.
One should savor the kill, yeah? Revel in death's call?
The figure stopped moving, taking a shoulder-width stance while bringing the long, straight blade down off his shoulder.
I am Kuro of Gaimo. I will be your death.
There is no honor in torture. Gabriel regarded the shadow with a cold stare. Vigilant in the still moments between the threat and battle, the clouds began to open wide, more drops of rain descending on the Neon Street battlefield. He lifted his head defiantly. Gabriel of Suzashukin Holy 8, announcing himself as was the custom of corporate Bushido, lifting his sword to present it, a hand-forged weapon, folded 1,000 times in the Soshu tradition, and etched with a sprinting rabbit on its silvered blade.
Yet you murdered all three,
called the man at the far end of the Neon Street.
Brutal.
No witnesses, Gabriel replied flatly, running forward to meet his enemy who came at him. Rain fell, staccato patterings on metal awnings that lined the street. Flashing steel clashed as Gabriel engaged Kuro of Gumao, a skilled warrior with a long purple leather coat. Kuro's wild eyes hardened as he struck, an overhead slash of his compound steel Nigato that rang against Gabriel's hand-forged white hair katana. Their weights pressed, locking blades, as the two men exerted their wills against the other. Kuro was tall and lean, his face scarred down the right side that marred a strong nose and high cheekbones. His hair was shorn short to the scalp and on the sides, the top moosed into a fanned mohawk that was loosening in the rain. He grinned madly, a flash of gold tooth glinting in the street light. Underneath the purple leather, Kuro wore nothing. He feared nothing, so armor was of no import to the man. His bare chest was a testament to the battles and pain he had endured, flesh broken by scars old and new over taut, violent muscles. His designer jeans were cinched by a studded leather belt, and his feet were encased in raw hide cowboy leather with purple bandanas tied around the ankles. Gabriel, though waterlogged, wore his customary tailored suit. Damp wool weighed him down. The Kito Senshio corp suit, made of wool leathered over Dura armor, fiber mesh. Black jacket and white Dura armor shirt beneath created layers of protection for the corporate samurai from the neck down. His brown belt was simple and plain leather that kept Kito Senshio corp slacks bound to his waist. On his feet were simple brown wingtips, rubber-soled. He appeared more sickly than he was, engineered by Suzakushin through rigorous DNA treatments and nanite injections to be the ultimate self-sustained warrior in the conglomeration wars. A side effect of those treatments was a pale complexion, a near-deathly pallor that made his deep brown eyes appear darker and emptier than they were. Nanites repaired him, leaving no trace of scar upon his bloodless, handsome young face. A face that was tense with a singular movement in front of him as Kuro let out a primal scream of spittle and spite. The psychotic shinobi pushed as hard as he could against the braced blades, then seeking to overpower Gabriel in one burst of strength. Gabriel relented, letting Kuro stumble while his feet performed a crescent slide across the puddled rain collecting beneath them. His body twisted out from under the shinobi's pressure, leaving the man off balance. As he heaved forward, the white hair circled high, a practice perfect motion that left it shining right above Gabriel's head before the blade descended down Kuro's back. Its finely sharpened edge bit through leather, splitting the coat and digging deep into the flesh underneath. In its wake, red spilled free from pink skin. Kuro screeched in anger, sparing no moment of hesitation. His compound steel Nagato flashed in a lateral circle as the shinobi twirled to strike, forcing Gabriel to step back twice to avoid the slash. The samurai centered himself, knees bending low while his foot pivoted and rotated to loosen the ankle. It settled flat and forward. His katana was held upright, drawn near the right shoulder. Hasso, the ancient fourth stance of kendo. Kuro hunched low like a coiled viper, his legs bent deep and crossed over the other while his blade was held across him. Pain fueled his rage. The burning down his exposed and bloody back became the burning of his heart to kill this man. Two elements faced off, fire and water, as Gabriel calmly stared down his opponents with his dark, empty gaze. His body did not twitch a muscle, despite the chill rain and the adrenaline of battle. Kuro screamed, summoning his fury, and his body uncoiled into a lunging slice with the compound steel sword. Gabriel countered, sidestepping and slicing downward with his katana. In the flash of blades, red arced from each combatant. Gabriel misjudged the Nagato's length, its tip slicing through the Dura armor shirt at his waistline and scraping his flesh. The white hair cut deep into Kuro's shoulder, however, forcing the shinobi to drop his weapon. A practiced killer. Kuro's left hand snatched the sword up underhand as it clattered to the concrete. The wild man began to spin towards the samurai. Gabriel was left on the defensive, his white hair flashing in constant downward circles to bat off the offensive slashes of Kuro's steel sword as it came low, mid, while the mad shinobi danced across the wet concrete. Gabriel's only chance was to disrupt the twisting, his sword battling against the Nagato to create an opening that a wing-tipped foot could capitalize on. The leather shoe snapped upward, catching Kuro in the chin with its toe. The shinobi's head snapped back, his body's momentum disrupted. Like an injured beast, he scrambled a few steps, recovered back into the coiled serpent stance. Feeling the nanites closing the flesh wound already, Gabriel recentered his stance and slid his lead foot forward. It angled slightly inward as he lowered himself for more stability, turning his middle away from his opponent. His white hair sword was lowered to his hip, settled with the blade back and away, as if it were resting on in its scabbard, while both hands gripped the weapon securely. Gabriel watched his opponent over his left shoulder, rain dripping down his ashen face. Kuro recognized the trap easily, surging forward with his Nagato braced along his forearm. Gabriel's sword swung forward and up, but Kuro twisted aside. Its arc and back kicked out with great force into Gabriel's stomach. The samurai stumbled back, giving the deadly shinobi the opening he required. Kuro's blade struck true, impaling through Gabriel's necktie into his chest. He forced the samurai down with his body weight. In a lunge, Gabriel screamed in pain, falling backwards to thud against the grimy wall behind him. He struggled, gasping and twitching at the violating steel in his body, while Kuro bore down on the blade and cackled with mad glee. One of Gabriel's hands grasped Kuro's hands, trying to forestall the lunge of the precious blade further. His body rejected the pain, but his mind knew that the steel embedded in his chest did not belong there. Gabriel grunted, trying to work his feet under him for leverage. "Die! Die! Die!" shrieked the insane shinobi, shoving at the weapon with all his might against Gabriel's grasp. There's no room to stab, no chance to gain ground and free himself. Gabriel's only chance was to bring his white-hair katana up between them. The silvered blade shot up into view, the edge nicking the tip of Kuro's nose. Kuro flinched, rearing back from the cut, and Gabriel pushed forward with all his might, risking further impaling. Gabriel's sword came forward, blade in Kuro's face, and the shinobi leaned back from it. The samurai pulled himself off the Nagato paled in his chest with a screech of pain, and dove to the side to put distance between him. He rolled as far as he could while Kuro wiped blood off of his face. Gabriel came up on one knee, with the katana tipped braced on the street, for him to pull himself up by. The shinobi sprang at him with another shrill cry, swinging his Nagato in powerful arcs back and forth that left Gabriel defending them off with wild, defensive swipes of his katana. The clang of metal to metal sang in the rain that fell all around them. With final desperation, Gabriel swung hard to deflect the Nagato's strike, then twisted his wrist to turn his blade back the way it came. With a roar, he slashed across the shinobi's face so hard that Kuro's jaw detached slightly from his skull, and it hung limply at a grotesque angle. The shinobi let out a wail, falling backwards. His Nagato fell to the street as he grabbed his face and jaw to push it into place, rolling about on the concrete like a half-squished bug. Gabriel panted, unsteadily rising to stand up over the rolling, keening, curled body of Kuro. White hair hung loose in his hand, Gabriel's strength beginning to fade as his nanites took to repairing the sucking chest wound that stole his breath. He stumbled forward, raising the sword, with what power he had left to stab it into Kuro's middle. The shinobi curled up around the blade when it pierced, then slowly unfolded, like a lotus flower, to lay panting and prostrated below the samurai. Gabriel pulled the blade free, blood bubbling into the hole it left behind as he raised the weapon one more time. Kuro gasped and whined through his unhinged, smeared mouth for a few seconds before the samurai's white-hair sword arced across his neck. Blood fountained from the spilled flesh and arteries, ceasing Kuro's pain and struggle with that final stroke. Gabriel staggered a few steps while his nanites worked to recover from the wound and regulate the flow of blood within his veins. But soon, walked firmly back down the street. The samurai paused, and to bend down and retrieve his saya, sliding the sword back into its depths. He passed the 3 fallen businessmen he had killed before his duel with Kuro, giving them no thought whatsoever. He had completed his task for his director, and there was no reason to think further on the past. Patting himself down, he found his packet of pocky sticks ruined and drew it from the middle pocket of his suit jacket. He shook it out, watching the broken sticks become further ruined by rainfall, and frowned. Damn it. The packet was tossed angrily to the street, then stepped on as he walked. 13 steps forward, a bundle of yellow rushed out of the left-hand building and crashed into him. It spun in a whirl of flowing layers and fell, splashing to the soggy ground. Gabriel gripped his blade's pommel, preparing to draw and cut down the new attacker. As the hood of the coat was pushed back, midnight hair and pigtail ringlets shone in the neon lights, and big, round eyes stared up at him in shock, painted in soft pink, purple, and black, but overdone to exaggerate them. The young girl saw the weapon and shrank back, putting her slender arms and flared sleeves up in front of her. The end of Chapter 1. All right. I need a drink of water, man. Holy smokes. There we go. Yeah, I know the Pokies. They got ruined. What a load. Anyway, that was the opening for Daniel P. Riley's Chapter 1 of Jisedai. I'm not going to try to do Japanese accents. I offend people enough with the way I pronounce the foreign words, but alas, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you guys want to check it out, you should. It's a great book. I have not read the second one. I just finished the first, and it's well worth your time. I highly recommend it. Now, see what a difference it makes when I actually know the story that I'm going to be reading live on stream? Oh, thank you, Tim Allen. I appreciate it. Tim Allen, I've come to fear Texan women due to their anger. That's fair. I mean, they are in pretty close proximity to Mexico, and we all know that their Mexican women are the calmest, most level-headed, not red-hot angered women you'll ever find on the planet. My video is glitching. Wonder what it is. How about now? Is that better? Is it still glitching? There you go. There you go. So, yeah, that's that. I probably have one more reading left in me. After that, I'll probably try to continue my training arc in Hunt Showdown, try to redeem my failure of a performance when I played this just recently with King Richard and Swift Sword Rush. Luckily, he and I have played together since, not on stream. And on the game we played not on stream, we got the bounty right away, found it in the building like right next to where we spawned, got the bounty, didn't encounter another player, collected our stuff, got out. It was perfect. But alas, I'm going to need to read one more book. So let's see. Got a lot of options here. My post got a lot of attention, and I had something close to 24 people wanting me to read stuff. So let's see. Okay. Okay, let's see. Oh, that is one thing. A lot of people sent me stuff in messages, and it's very hard to read that way, but I'm sure I can make that work. Let's see. Can I make this bigger? All right, so let's see. I'm going to read a story by H.G. Beef. He's on Twitter at Hot Ground Beef. And let's see. Hey, you asked for some Iron Age intros and short stories. Here's the first bit from my book called Wormstone: The Curse of the Talisman, coming out November 27th. Oh, hey. That means, what is it? Hey, that means it came out yesterday. So, yeah, guys, I'm going to read out this first portion, and if it sounds good to you, check it out. All right, let's see here. There we go. Now I can read the stream while I read occasionally. There we go. In the Umber Desert, gunsmoke filled the air and obscured the sun in a hazy veil. The thunder of 100 galloping hooves made rocks quake in fear, of the riders and the fury they brought with them. Oh, okay, so I know what this is. I have just the music for that. Yeah, there we go. There we go. No, skip past this. Oh, no. Come on now. Come on. 6 more seconds. Blood spilled from the veins of wicked men, transformed golden grains of sand into red mud. There we go. That'll work just fine. Once 12 strong,
A motley gang of thieves known as Hardy and Company had been whittled down to 8. 6 riders rode upon 5 mounts.
What in the world? That is not what I wanted. Why did it change? Okay, sorry, we're back. Today's word harvest. Oh yeah, for writing. Yeah, I hope anyone writing is having a good time. Yeah, that is a good background. I accidentally skipped to a different one. I'm like, no. This is too good. We got to stick with this.
6 riders rode upon 5 mounts, each their own horse, except a pair of lovers doubled up on the back of a wild black mare with white splotches. It took the weight of 2 men just to keep the beast steady. But since no single rider could lay aside his pride to ride on the same mount as another man, the leader shared the horse with his woman. The remaining 2 of the gang had perched atop a rock bridge over a canyon road, a mile up ahead, waiting and preparing the final touches of a deadly trap. 30 caliber slugs, screaming like banshees, through the barrels of bloodthirsty repeaters, hissed past the fleeing bandits' ears. An angrily righteous posse of lawmen and their lackeys had been assembled to serve as the undertakers for the gang of 12, and already they had made plenty of work for the town coffin maker. 4 caskets to be readied, and the devil was bidding for more. The fleeing bandits responded with a volley of their own, firing over their shoulders, and nary hitting a thing. The leader of the gang, a man by the name of C.T. Hardy, rode on his mare facing backwards to confront his vigilant pursuers head on. His consort and partner in crime was a fiery redhead named Betty Carvin. She was better known by those she crossed and those who crossed her as the butcher bitch Carvin Betty. She held onto the mare's reins and drove the horse like a demon. Despite having stolen more money than a king could ever spend in 10 lifetimes, she wore the tattered clothes of a wanderer. Her shin-high boots had holes in the toes, and a ragged cotton dress, too large for even her shapely form. Shapely, you hear that? Was strewn over her curves. Soon into the dress were deep pockets, so she could carry plenty of loot and loose cartridges. The skirt was cut short just above the knees, so she could have quick access to a pair of concealed guns that hugged her legs. Betty, a prolific and violent prostitute who only moonlighted as a thief, was not a modest woman. She wore nothing beneath her dress except 2 hidden pistols. Wrapped around her waist was a brown leather bullet belt, and a single-action revolver with a blued finish, and brass inlays was stuffed in around her navel. Sounds like a lot of fun. Anyway, she had stolen the revolver from a John, who, against her will, roamed her forbidden pasture, as he called it. After giving the man the wildest ride of his life, she stabbed him to death with a butcher's knife. He was not the first man she had ever murdered, but he was the first to die by her hand and the blade. She loved the primal rush of killing with a knife. It gave her so much that she kept the weapon as a keepsake, wrapping it in a cloth cut from the shortened skirt on her dress. She tucked the knife between her breasts because she loved how the blade felt against her beating heart. Men that knew of her legend would often say, "What I wouldn't give to be that blade." I know, I'm digging Betty so far. Hardy, still sitting back to back with Betty, was armed with twin tarnished revolvers that had been handed down to him by his grandfather. The guns were marred with wear, and the finish had worn off, leaving the metal naked against the elements. The markings on the barrel had once read, "Caliber 45, had nearly disappeared. He picked off the pursuing riders one after the other, plunging their bodies into the desert brush and sand. "Hess and Miles better have them charges ready," he shouted over the stampede. Between his thighs, he squeezed a heavy sack of gold coins that jingled in a merry harmony with the heaving contents within.
the pockets of Betty's dress. Have a little faith. Them boys ain't ever let us down before. Another of their gang rode closely by. A notorious duelist by the name of Arlino Thresher chimed in. The marshal and his men were posseed to be out of town. Who the hell tipped him off, Hardy? You said we'd be content with only a handful of them. Bitch and a half got them town's guns riding in on us. My money's on that rebel witch.
Listen to music without muting the world
There we go. That rebel witch. Let's see, where to go. Lost my spot, sorry. Betty barked with a venomous tongue. She ain't had it else for us outsiders from the beginning. The newest member of Hardy and Company, Karna Taloma, a woman native to the area who had once served as a nurse for freedom-fighting rebels. Invading Imperial forces had recently squashed the rebels, but because she'd been considered a non-combatant, she was allowed to bow out of any retribution. It had been a weak gesture of goodwill from the Emperor of Smooth over any lingering hostility. She and another long-standing member of Hardy's gang, Armand Bliss, had engaged in an ongoing series of trysts before Hardy had brought Karma on as a full-time member. None of them knew Karna very well except for Bliss, so when Hardy had questioned why any of them should trust her, all she had to say was, if the stealing's good and the Emperor's gold, then count me in. Hardy didn't need to know anything else, but from that moment on, Betty hated Karna's guts. He hadn't been so easy on Betty when she first tried to join. Don't let Bliss hear you talking like that, Hardy said as he was reloading. I don't think you'll have to worry about Bliss hearing nothing, Thresher shouted through a juicy wad of chaw, pointing at Bliss's empty horse. Ah, hell, when he'd get hit, Hardy yelled over his own guns. Bliss's body was nowhere to be seen. He had fallen from his horse and been mercilessly trampled by the posse. Karna had already gathered the reins of Bliss's horse, so the law wouldn't capture the saddlebags of cash and gold that were still piled onto the riderless animal. Hardy's gang was now numbered at 7. At the moment, from left to right, the riders were Karna, the empty horse, Thresher, Betty, and Hardy, and the youngest member of the crew, a 13-year-old pickpocket prodigy who simply went by Bug. The law posse had already grabbed the horses of one of their fallen comrades, along with any valuables they had just liberated from the nearby town. Across the way, Betty shot piercing glances past Thresher and directly at Karna. The raven-haired rebel returned a volley of glares. I'm telling you, Bliss was a tried and true loyalist, Betty clamored. Theirs is a love that will never work. Just look at her. Not a tear in her eye. That sneaky whore ratted us out and killed him when we were busy jawing. Damn it all! Hardy shouted over the deafening barrage of gunfire. Bliss was my best friend. My best good friend. But what's done is done. We don't have time to sort this out right now. Canyon Pass is coming up, Thresher howled. Betty jabbed the mare with her heels and hollered. Yeah, better come and get. Move your ass. Move your good-for-nothing beast. The mare, with fire in her belly and lightning in her legs, charged forward, ahead of the other riders who followed suit. The road narrowed into a canyon passage, only wide enough for riders to pass through single file. This ought to slow them down, Hardy yipped. Through the winding pass up ahead was a rock formation in the form of a natural bridge. Heiss and Miles, a pair of brothers who loved to raise hell with bundles of dynamite, had set an explosive trap in case of any pursuers were tailing their friends.
Send up the red signal, baby doll! Hardy yelled at Betty. From within her belt, she withdrew a stick flare equipped with a pull string. She yanked the string and fired the hissing crimson flare into the sky, signaling to Hess and Miles to ready themselves. Trailing behind the gang was about 100 feet a shrewd lawman who went by the name of Marshal Kenton Bench, led the posse through the pass. His top deputy, Reed Hawburn, was nipping at the Bench's heels. That's funny. Yo, Marshal, they're signaling for backup. There's only 12 of them, and we've done buried 5. Bench shouted over his shoulders. That means them 2 brothers stayed back. They're cooking something. I just know it. Tell the men to stay on their toes. Meanwhile, Hess and Miles were camped behind a boulder several hundred feet from the exit of the pass, and next to a wagon full of supplies and loot. They had rigged nitroglycerin charges to blow the rock bridge and block the way once Hardy and the rest of the gang made it through the pass safely. Miles, looky there. Red as a baboon's ass. Hess said, grabbing his napping brother in the ribs with a stick. Miles stirred awake, fumbling to right the crooked hat atop his head and squinted at the flare. Red means fight, Miles said. Ah, hell's bells, that makes me nervous, Hess whimpered. Mom gonna cut you off the tit going on 10 years back. Don't you think you're a bit old to start suckling again? Miles berated him. Oh, Bubby, don't give me no hard knocking, Hess pleaded. Not at a time like this. Just stop your blubbering. Keep an eye out for that green flare. Green means clean. Hess giggled. I can't wait to blow this sucker sky high. Heaven. He reached for the blasting machine box, but his brother jabbed his thumb into his chest while he hugged the machine. You did it the last time. It's my turn. He caressed the plunger like was the inner thigh of a high-end parlor whore. My ass! All I did was light one measly stick of dynamite. The 2 stood chest to chest. Hess slammed his hat into the ground, and the contentious pair jostled in the dust like bickering children. The canyon pass lay underneath the bridge. Well, sorry, just double checking. Which was about 100 feet above the riders' heads. Leading up to the bridge, the narrow pass was straight for about 200 feet. For that stretch, there will be no twisting bends to duck and hide behind. To their left was a wall of rock about 40 feet high, and to their right was a sheer cliff that if it were to tumble over, they'd plummet about 5 times as far. Oh, come on now. Oh, don't you just love commercials?
Here we go. Watch this. Amazing.
Let's see.
I don't like her being behind us all, Betty said. She could have a gun right at our backs. Darling, quit your fretting, Hardy replied.
Let's see. Turn this back on. Son of a gun. I want a different song. This is too intense a scene. Okay, better.
Smart thinking. I knew I was with you for a reason, she said, smiling back at him. And there's 2 big reasons I'm with you. I ought to slug you, wisecracking son of a bitch, she shouted back, causing him to howl with laughter. There was one last bend in the pass before the bridge. Here we go! Hardy shouted out to the rest of the gang. Bench and his happy band of bastards are going to be straight behind us any second. Take shots when you can, for crying out loud. This passage is narrow, so don't be plugging each other. Just as he had predicted, Bench and his crew made it around the last bend in the pass by the time Hardy and company were halfway to the bridge. Booming shots and hissing rounds flew once again, filling the pass with gun smoke. Fragments snapped off of rocks, and as the fleeing crew were about 3/4 of the way to their freedom,
A ricochet caught Bug's horse in the leg. The beast reared back and toppled them both off the edge. Karna, riding behind Bug with Bliss's horse trailing behind her, was nearly caught up in the fall, but managed to avoid colliding into the tumbling animal with just in the nick of time. "No! Little Bug!" Hardy wailed. "Ah, hell! They got my Bug! He was like my own boy! Oh, damn it all! Those bastards are going to pay with their lives!" "We're almost there!" Betty announced, just as they passed underneath the bridge's shadow. She pulled another flare from her belt. She yanked on the string, but nothing happened. "The flare's busted!" "Well, unbusted! Pinch and his boys are going to be through it if you don't!" Hardy shouted. Betty chomped down on the reins with her teeth and clenched onto the string over and over again. On the fifth or sixth tug, a green flame careened into the sky. Luckily, by then, the brothers had reconciled, and not a second later, a massive boom shook the earth. Hefty chunks of rocks flung to the heavens as the crumbling bridge plummeted to the ground. A blast of air and dust followed the riders, swallowing them up in a rushing cloud. Hardy and company yipped and yelled in triumph. The four riders came to a halt for a breather, and Hess and Miles rode over to meet them. The brothers' elated faces turned to despondent as they saw that there were only four of their friends left. "Ah, hell! We squashed everybody," Hess wailed. "You didn't squish nobody but Bench and his titty milk drinking tag-alongs," Hardy said as he hopped off his demonic mare. "We got righted out," Betty hissed, directing her eye at Karna. "You think I did it?" Karna growled. "Piss on Bench. He's an Imperial dog, and I would never aid him." "Ain't none of us here except you. Don't that make us all Imperials?" Betty probed. Stone-faced, Karna said nothing in reply as she fought back a bitter scowl. "Yeah, I always knew what you really thought of us." Wait, sorry, that's Betty's voice. "Yeah, I always knew what you really thought of us," Betty said. "Now why don't you make it easy and confess now that you've done betrayed us?" "I don't have anything to confess," Karma spat. My good best friend is now dead," Hardy said accusingly. "What are you saying? The only you have cause to be upset? I loved Manny," protested Karma. "His name is Armand Bliss," he corrected sternly, poking his finger in her face. Karna looked around to each of them with darting eyes. Half of the rebel's woman head exploded into a red mist as a thundering crack rang out. The sound of the shot spooked her horse, which galloped off with her lifeless body dangling in the saddle. Hardy's face was splattered with her brains and blood. From a rusty brown dust cloud emerged Bench, Hawburn, and a handful of men. They were all banged up, but had survived the trap. The limping bunch were armed to the teeth with an assortment of wheel guns, repeaters, and scatter guns. They wore grit on their faces and were fueled by righteous rage. Among those who survived the trap was a hulking man with a hump on his back, which was concealed by an oversized horse blanket, tied around his neck like a cape. The giant dropped to his hands and knees. A much smaller comrade of his whipped off the horse blanket, revealing a wickedly glinting 6-barreled Gatling gun. Hardy and company sprang into action, each drawing their weapons and returning fire. "We can't let them open up on us with that thing!" Hardy shouted as they all scrambled. As quick as lightning, he jumped onto the mare with Betty. "Come on, let's go!" she shouted at the horse as she fired back at the lawman. "Get that gun loaded quick," Bench ordered his men. His boys shoved 2 box magazines into the Gatling gun and rotated the hand cranks to fire it. The barrels turned as they rapidly blasted lead down range.
Hardy and Betty's mare had made it halfway to a long, jagged rock formation, jutting out of the sand, before a bullet struck her. She squealed and fell, hurling both riders to the rocky ground. Two lovers hugged the hot sand and crawled on the rock toward the rock on their bellies, aiming to take cover behind it. The duelist Treasure had grown tired of running. He bravely yet foolishly stood against his pursuers on foot. "Ya ain't taking me, you yellow son of bitches!" He could only squeeze off 2 shots before being cut down with a round to the neck. He fell, dying as he choked on his own blood. Bullets rained down all around Hardy and Betty. They made their desperate shots behind them as they crawled. "The moment that big gun goes dry, we stand and make a break for the backside of that old rock," Hardy yelled. As soon as the roaring gun went quiet, they did just that, hopping to their feet and scurrying over to the jagged stone. Just as they toppled over the edge and onto the other side, the multi-barreled Widowmaker opened up once more. A torrent of hot lead came their way, snapping and popping against the rock. The hissing lead slugs flew over them like a swarm of angry wasps. They didn't dare to stand in fear of meeting an early doom. "Damn, that was quick!" Hardy exclaimed as nervous beads of sweat flowed down his face. "What the hell are we going to do?" I don't know. Hardy rambled. It was the first time Betty had ever seen him scared. She was scared too, although years of living life as a prostitute had trained her to keep her emotions to herself. Suddenly, a boom rocked the ground. Hess and Miles had taken cover by the wagon. Oh. What the hell? There we go. Sorry. My bad. That thing was messing up. Hess and Miles had taken cover by the wagon, a powder keg on wheels. Not only carried loot and supplies, but also explosives. The wagon had been hit in just the right spot, launching it into the air with an earth-shaking blast. Hess and Miles, as well as their horses, were instantly turned into soup, and their heads sent rocketing to the moon. Debris from the action fell all around Betty and Hardy. It was the last straw for CT. Seeing all his friends being torn up was just too much for even a hardened outlaw like him. "Ah, hell, Betty! I gotta come clean with something before we die." She squinted at him through a plume of dust that had drifted their way. "What you going on about? I ain't dying no time soon. I slept with Karma," he blurted out. "You know what?" "I poked her only once. I swear. I was drunk, and she was a wily snake. I'm sorry, baby. I want to live out the afterlife together." "You want to cut your damn tongue out," she snarled. Jesus. She withdrew the butcher knife between her breasts and pounced on him. No, he pleaded. "I love you, Betty Corbin." She stabbed him viciously across the chest, neck, and face, killing her lover in a fit of rage. There we go. She was the only one of Hardy and company left. I ain't running no more," she said through gritted teeth, determined to make up the stand. The parlor whore went with the fiery mane and was ready to die a glorious death. Just as she topped off her pistol and was ready to jump above cover, the shots from Bench's men went quiet. "You bastard's still alive!" "Alive and well, you small-dicked coward!" she screamed back. "How's CT doing?" "Burning in hell, I reckon. He's full of holes." "Well, that's too bad. Now let's get down to business. You better listen up if you don't want to die. If you toss your weapons over the rock and give yourself up, we'll treat you kindly. Well, as kindly as we can a dirty whore like you." "You ain't going easy on me 'cause I'm a woman?" she asked. "Something like that." "That rebel traitor was a woman, and you blew her damned head off."
That was an accident. You have my word. We was aiming for CT, Bench hollered. This is your first and only chance. You killed a lot of good men back there with that oversized firecracker. What I'm offering is an undeserved mercy. Betty seemed to have no choice. All right, I'm tossing him over, she shouted. Jesus. She lobbed the gun strapped to her thighs over the rock. And CT's irons, ordered Bench. She threw those over too. She kept the pretty blue finished pistol tucked in her belt and hid it behind her back. All right, I'm coming out! With your hands up, he ordered. She slowly scaled the rock with her hands in the air. Bench and his men stood a mere 50 feet away, creeping towards her with their guns at the ready. But their hardened expressions soon turned into smiles. Her dress, soaked in Hardy's blood, clung to her body, leaving little to the imagination about what lay underneath. I knew sparing you was a good idea, Auburn said with a skeezy grin. Shut up. Ben snarled before turning his attention back to Betty. Damn, woman, is that all Hardy's blood? 'Tis the elixir of life, I swear, she answered. Straight from the veins of C.T. Hardy, and I'm the one who spilt it, just like I'm gonna spill yours. Betty withdrew her hidden pistol, but before she could aim and fire, Bench's men responded. She took a round to the left shoulder, and another to the right thigh, causing her to topple backward and behind the wall of stone. I gave you a chance you didn't deserve, and you spit in my face, Bench shouted. It's going to be a real shame putting that final bullet in you, girl. Blood drained from her wounds and she grimaced. While she waited for Bench to scale over the rock and put an end to her suffering, her eyes caught movement in the sandy crag. Terrified of snakes, she prayed that the clandestine serpent wasn't lurking. But instead of a creeping reptile, she discovered a large yellow eye was watching her. She gasped and tossed the nearest stone she could grab at the eye, striking it square in its slit-shaped pupil. The eye recoiled, and its lids collapsed tight. The rock formation before her heaved out of the ground, raining a deluge of sand. A piercing roar rang out, and as the sand fell around her, she saw the rock was attached to a neck, and that the neck was attached to a body. She hadn't taken cover behind a boulder, but the head of a massive reptilian colossus buried in the desert. Desperate gunfire rang out. Bench and his men attacked the massive beast, but their pitiful attempt was thwarted by the teacher's thick, armored skin. Benny watched in both terror and awe as the giant iron-skinned monster gobbled up one of Bench's men whole and trampled them and slashed at them, ripping their bodies apart like a cat would a mouse. In the ensuing chaos, Bench and Hobburn had managed to hide behind a large cactus. They lit a bundle of dynamite and hurled it at the beast. The bomb exploded in the creature's face and sent a shock wave through the desert so strong that it knocked Betty onto her back. The mighty creature let out another roar and thrashed its head about. It was not hurt in the slightest, only pissed off. It unleashed a torrent of fire from its mouth that engulfed the men, roasting them like hogs on a spit. The fire-breathing behemoth then turned its attention to the last of the men still alive, incinerating their bodies and creating charcoal from their bones. Betty rose from her back to view the carnage. She didn't know whether to crawl away or sit there and bleed. She glanced down at her blue finished pistol, sprouting from the sand. She could take her own life, and that would be preferable to being eaten. But that was the coward's way out, and she couldn't bring herself to do it. In that moment, she decided she'd get the monster's attention and try her best to have it do her in itself. The wounded redhead looked up from the gun, to face the beast head on. Except, instead of a creature, a man walked towards her through the fires that were rapidly spreading through the dry bush. She hadn't seen him among Binch's men. He was bedecked in all black. The wide poblano hat atop his head shrouded his face in shadow. Skip it just a second. There we go. There we go. To her, he appeared an infernal undertaker, summoned from Hades, who would reunite her with her dearly departed CT. The man in black halted several feet in front of her and simply stood there. The man's shirt was splayed open, revealing a nasty vertical scar over his heart. Instead of a pistol in its holster, he had a hammer on one hip and a chisel on the other. The man rested his right hand on the hammer's head, while he let his other arm dangle. Behind him, the massive beast feasted on the charred corpses.
Who the hell are you?
Betty quavered. The man didn't answer. She couldn't make out who he was. The large poblano hat covered most of his face. She could only see an impeccable white set of teeth through his ominously crooked smile. She glanced over at his right hand that still sat upon the hammer.
You gonna bash me with that? Finish me off?
The man spoke with a serene voice that cut through the surrounding mayhem like a singing blade. Hurt you? No, not a chance. I would never hurt you, Marsa.
Marsa? I think you got me confused with the wrong gal. Damn you, I'm Betty Carvin.
The man plucked a toothpick from one of his trouser pockets, pursed his lips around it. He shook his head as he examined his fingernails. After juggling the toothpick around in his mouth, he replied with the same measured but foreboding tone. Nope, I'd recognize you anywhere, even in your dreams. The man then fell to his hands and knees, burying his face in the sand. He worshipped Betty as if she were a goddess or a queen. In the background, the desert creature crept up behind him, its gaping maw alight with hellfire. Was only a short distance away.
Hey, fella,
she stammered,
look out behind you.
but the man remained as still as a statue. She stared down the monstrous gullet as it let loose a cleansing flame. As the fire consumed her, she howled a scream that would wake the dead. And that's it.
Oh, goodness gracious. I know most of you guys it's getting late, so most of you, I probably lost some of you guys throughout all that, but I really appreciate you guys all sticking around. Let me bring you back over here. There we go. There we go. Anyway, that was a story by, where'd we go? That was a story by H.G. Beef. And that's going to be, what is it called? All the way. Man, that's a long story. And that book came out yesterday, and it's his first book called Wormstone: The Curse of the Talisman, and it came out just yesterday. That was a lot of fun. It was fun for me to do that voice. It was oh, thank you, Snow, thank you, Guilty. Thank you everyone who was able to make it. Let's see, we had 10 Cage, we had Tim Allen. Oh wow, well, a lot of people actually. But yeah, no, I really appreciate everyone coming by, and I think I'm probably going to call it there just because it's late and it's a school, not a school night, a work night for me. Losing my damn mind. But hey, for everyone who's able to make it, I appreciate. And get out there, create. This is the Iron Age. We may not shine like silver or gold, but we get stuff done. Woo!